జై శ్రీరామ్. జై బజరంగబలి. శ్రీరామ శ్రీ హనుమతే నమ. శ్రీ లక్ష్మీనరసింహస్వామియే నమ. Namaskar, good morning. I am Janardhan Prasad. This video program is made by me to find the evidences of existence of Hindu god Sri Hanuman in ancient Indus Valley region. By the way, I will also try to find traces of cult of another Hindu god, Sri Lakshmi Narasimha Swami, in the ancient Indus Valley region. Let me tell you that I have read all Vedas, Itihasas, several Puranas, Manusmriti, etc. in their original form. And I have given necessary translations to the Sanskritic hymns wherever used in this program. Let us know that some scholars who did research on Hanuman worship have suggested that worshipping of Hanuman began about 1000 years back based on material evidences. Of course, it may be right to some extent, but I think Hanuman was born in ancient Indus Valley region, which is about 9500 years old, and hence Hanuman is as old as our Hindu culture and religion. And let us know that for the last 100 years, historians are presuming that the age of Indian civilization is 3500 years only, based on the supposed historical event of advent of Aryans into India about 3500 years back. Whereas Hindu Puranas pronounce that Hindu Sanatana Dharma is lakhs of years of old. But in spite of the fact that the English meaning of the word Purana is history only, we cannot trust Puranic history as it is, because Puranas give you exaggerated figures of historical times. But modern science is telling that the age of man on this earth itself is about 60,000 years only. And archaeologists did not find any human settlements beyond 1500 BCE in mainland India, whereas in Indus Valley region, human settlements are found since 7500 BCE. That is, Indian man is about 9500 years only, even if we count Harappan man as Indian man. Then how can we believe the words of Puranas and think that Indians wrote Vedas 1 lakh years back? That's why historians do not trust Puranic history and brush it aside as unbelievable exaggerations. However, we cannot believe historians' version also. Historians say that Indian culture is 3500 years old based on Aryan Advent theory. I have denounced Aryanism in my previous videos. And we can change the notions of both Puranas and historians by establishing links between Indus Valley civilization and Vedic culture. If we succeed in our endeavor, then we can push the age of Hindu culture and religion to 9500 years back from the present day 3500 years tag. And historians believe that ancient Persians or so-called Aryans came to India after 1500 BCE. And according to them, they started writing Vedas in 1300 BCE. But as per archaeologists and historians, Aryans at that time were nomadic savages. Then how can we imagine that some nomadic people coming into India and start writing Vedas after living in India for 200 years? Let us note that this theory of Aryanism was born about 150 years back in historical circles of Western Europe. According to this theory, there was no human culture in India before the advent of Aryans. But it is important to note that at the time of pronouncement of this theory of Aryanism, there was no knowledge of existence of Harappan civilization in ancient Indus Valley region. Archaeological excavations at Harappa and Mohenjo-daro have begun in 1919 only, and by 1924 historians got to know that a great civilization flourished in ancient Indus Valley region, and that too before the arrival of so-called Aryans. And as I have told you earlier, this video program is aimed at finding historical evidences of Hanuman in ancient Indus Valley region. So let us first have a gist of archaeological findings at Harappan sites. Initially, two cities of Mohenjo-daro and Harappa were found to be major sites in the matrix of Harappan civilization, which flourished in between 3300 BCE and 1750 BCE. But later, after further excavations in other areas, it was found that Harappan civilization had begun much earlier than was thought to be. Accordingly, Harappan culture was found to have begun by 7500 BCE itself at Mahadgat, Navsharo and Kalibangam, and during its mature period, it included Dholavira also. Mature period lasted from 2600 BCE to 1900 BCE, and recent findings at Rakigadi are showing that Rakigadi culture existed from the beginning to the end of Harappan civilization, that is from 7500 BCE to 1300 BCE. And it is found that Harappan civilization was spread across the ancient Indus Valley region of the present-day Pakistan, Afghanistan and Western India. However, it should be noted that this culture ended in southern areas by 1900 BCE and it lasted up to 1300 BCE in northern and eastern areas of Indus Valley region. And by now it is clear that the age of Harappan civilization is 9500 years old. But irony is that still age of Indian history is pegged at 3500 years only by historians. Let us find out reasons for this. It may be because of two things. First thing is, Western historians do not consider a civilization as historical if it does not have any writing systems. However, fact is that until now the Harappan script is not deciphered. That is, we are unable to read the meanings of the writings of these Harappan people. So it is not that Harappans did not have any writing skills, but we are unable to read the meanings of their script. In spite of this fact, Western historians simply set aside the history of Harappan civilization and labeled it as a proto-historic culture. And hence, Harappan culture is not counted for the construction of ancient Indian history. But is it right to say that Harappan culture is not historical because we are unable to read their script? And second aspect is that Western historians say that Indian culture began with the advent of Aryans about 3500 years back. Indian historians in their turn believe that Harappan gods were different from Vedic gods and so they are non-Aryan. And also Indian historians tend to believe that Harappans worshipped Palas, the sacred Shivalinga, and also worshipped female goddesses. Hence, the proposition that Indian culture began with Aryans is accepted by Indian historians. But let me tell you that I have proved in my previous videos that Brahmadev, the Hindu primordial god, lived in ancient Indus Valley region. Hence, I have claimed that ancient Indus Valley people were the original and real composers of Vedas. So, I deny the argument that Indian history began with Aryans about 3500 years back. And now in this video program, we are going to find out another proof to authenticate our claims. We are going to prove the evidences of existence of Hindu god Hanuman in the ancient Indus Valley region. By the way, we will also find that Sri Lakshmi Narasimha Swami cult also has had its origins in Indus Valley region. And I hope these findings would help us connect Vedic culture with Harappan civilization, so that we can prove that Indian culture is not less than 9500 years old. And in this connection, I would like to let you know that based on my research, I have written a book titled A Tribute to the Ancient World of India. This book was released on January 21st, 2017. I have established several links between ancient Indus Valley civilization and Vedic cultures in my book. And the subject matter of this video program actually finds its place in chapter number 34 of my book. Now let us find out who is Hanuman, what are his divine characteristics, his place in the pantheon of Hindu religion, and his fame and glory across the globe, and if he is a human being or not. Let us first make it clear in our minds about Hanuman being called as Vanara. We should remember that even though he is called as monkey god, monkeys do not worship him. But we human beings worship Hanuman since ages. Then why he is called as a monkey god, and why he is described in our scriptures as Vanara, and why our sculptures and paintings show him in monkey form? Let us find it out. Lord Hanuman is one of the most popular Hindu gods in India. He is worshipped all over India, cutting across all regions. He is owned by all sects of Hindu religion. He is considered as an incarnation of Lord Shiva by Shaivites, and he is basically considered as a Vaishnava god also. And he finds his place at the entrances of Goddess Kali temples as one of the two Dwarpalakas, that is, guardian deities at entrance gates. And he is adored in Sikh, Jaina and Buddha religious texts also. And in India, people practicing other religions also worship Hanuman. And he is also a pan-Asian god. He is worshipped in so many countries from Myanmar to Japan, including China. And let us know that Hanuman is alluded to be a staunch follower and beloved devotee of Sri Lord Rama. And also, Hanuman loves people worshipping Lord Rama. Etra etra Raghunatha Kirtanam tatra tatra Krutamastakāñjalim Bhashpavari Varipurnalocanam Maritim Namatarashrantakam. It means whenever Lord Hanuman hears people chanting prayers praising Lord Rama, then the eyes of Lord Hanuman would be filled with tears of gratitude and happiness. And God Maruti exterminates demons who are against Sanatana Dharma. So we have to understand that if we worship Lord Rama, we are sure to get blessings of Lord Hanuman. So let us offer prayers first to Lord Rama through this hymn before proceeding further. Sri Raghavam Dasaradatmajam Apramayam Sitapatim Raghukulanvaya Ratanadepam Ajanubahum Maravinda Dalayatasham Namami Ramam Nisachara Vinashakaram. And let us remember that there would be no depiction of Hanuman either in paintings or in sculptures without Lord Rama. Sometimes he would be seen carrying Rama and Lakshmana on his shoulders, or he would be seated before Rama, Lakshmana and Sita, folding his hands in Anjali Hasta Mudra. In turn, he is blessed by Lord Rama. And I think Hindu Bhakti movement has had its origins in Lord Hanuman's devotion towards Rama. Lord Hanuman has so many names to his credit. He is called as Bajrangbali, Anjaneya, Anjaniputra, Vayuputra, Pavanasuta, Sankatamochana, Kamarupa, Brahmachari, Chiranjeeva, Kapi, Maruti, Vanara, etc. Bajrangbali means Hanuman's body and limbs are as strong as Vajra, the weapon of Indra. Names Anjaneya and Anjaniputra tell us that he was born to his mother named Anjani. Anjan means an amulet made of a herb. Kesari represents lion. Again, Leo is the astrological symbol of 5th house of the zodiac. Kesari is Hanuman's father. So Hanuman is related to sun god and also the lion. And it is interesting to note that Vanara king Sugriva was born to sun god. So we have to understand that Marutas have some kind of affinity to sun god and lions. According to another legend, wind god is father of Hanuman. That's why Hanuman is called as Vayuputra. And Hanuman is also called as Maruti because another name of Vayu is Maruti. It is interesting to note that several of Rigvedic slokas are devoted to Marutas. Manusmriti calls Marutas as spies or detectives. It appears that a Maruta is a man who moves quickly like wind and collects information of enemies as a spy without getting detected. And words Kapi and Vanara both give same meaning as ape man. Maybe because of this attribute, Hanuman's face is depicted as that of an ape and also he sports a tail of a monkey. But it should be noted that Rigveda does not call Marutas as apes. Rigveda calls them as soldiers of Indra. Kamarupa means he has the divine capacity to adapt to form he wishes. That is, he can become an insect and also he can increase his own body size like a giant. Sankatamochana is another popular epithet of Lord Hanuman. Sankatamochana means remover of obstacles. People believe that worshipping of Hanuman would help them ward off evil spirits. But it should be noted that no animal sacrifices are offered to Hanuman for getting favors because Hanuman is a vegetarian god. Brahmachari means a celibate. And word Chiranjava means an immortal. And let us note that Ramayana tells us that Hanuman was not only a brave warrior but also a learned person. And Hanuman was a brahmachari. Brahmachari means a celibate. We all know that as per Hindu tradition, leading a celibate life is a precondition for anyone to learn Vedas. After learning Vedas, a brahmachari can say goodbye to the celibate life and embrace family life to join Grihastha Ashrama Dharma. but our Hanuman was a celibate for life. And it is said that a brahmachari would gain not only physical strength but also develop mental strength to control his senses. So Hanuman being a brahmachari for life, he will have both these personal qualities to his credit. So we have to understand that Hanuman learnt Vedas by following brahmacharya. Hence, Hanuman was an intellectual person. See how Rama praises him before Lakshmana after listening to Hanuman's sophisticated speech. నా ఋగ్వేద వినీతస్య నా యజుర్వేద ధారిణః నా సామవేద విదుషస్సఖ్యమేవం ప్రభాషితం. Lakshmana, you must understand that unless one is well versed with Rigveda, Samaveda and Yajurveda, no person can talk like how Hanuman spoke to us now. Rama further says like this: Avistaram asandigdham avilambitam adrutam arastham kantaga vakyam vartate madhyame sware. Hanuman is not expanding the sentence unnecessarily. He has no doubt about what he was telling. His expressions are perfect. His voice is sane. And na mukhe netrayorvapi lalate cha bhruvosata aniyeshvapi cha gatreshu dosha samvidita kvachit. Meaning, see how Hanuman was conveying the message. There was no blinking in his eyes. His facial expressions are perfect, without any aberrations. So we have to understand that Hanuman was an intellectual person in addition to being a brave warrior. And let us know that by chance one of his childhood pranks had made him all-powerful human being. Once Hanuman had leapt up to the sun during his childhood. Yuga Sahasra Yojana Parabhanu Lilyotahi Madhura Palajanu. Hanuman tried to capture and consume it, mistaking the sun as an edible red fruit. And sun lives in heavens at a distance of 2000 yojanas from earth. Then the sun appealed to Indra to save him from the onslaught of Hanuman, for the world would go dark if the sun was missing. Then Indra plunges into action and uses his all-powerful weapon, the Vajrayudha, against child Hanuman. Thus, hit by Vajrayudha, Hanuman was injured and fell unconscious. Then the father of Hanuman, Vayu, was upset with the incident and withdrew himself and went into a cave where Hanuman was lying in coma. In the absence of the wind, entire mankind on earth was unable to breathe. All men and devas went to Lord Shiva for help. Then Lord Shiva intervened, resuscitated and enlivened Hanuman in order to placate Vayu, so that air would be released onto the earth. Then all gods gathered at the place instantly. Indra blessed Hanuman with a boon that his Vajrayudha would never harm him again. Agni, the fire god, blessed him, saying that fire would never harm him. Varuna blessed Hanuman that water would never harm him. And wind god blessed him that wind would never harm him. Similarly, Brahma wished him to move without obstruction in all four directions. Lord Vishnu gave Gada, a mace, to Hanuman and blessed him to be a Chiranjeeva, the immortal. Hanuman appears during Mahabharata war also. He adores the flag of Arjuna's war chariot, and the chariot was driven by Lord Krishna. And in another episode, Bhima of Mahabharata era happened to meet Hanuman in Himalayas. And the story of Mahabharata occurred in Dwapara Yuga. Yuga means an epoch. Story of Ramayana occurred in Treta Yuga. Treta Yuga precedes Dwapara Yuga. So Hanuman lived through different eras and proved to be the Chiranjeeva, making true the boon given to him by Lord Vishnu. And we have noted earlier that Hanuman was born to his mother Anjana. Actually, Anjana means an amulet made of a herb. This attribute of Hanuman is reflected in the episode of Hanuman bringing a herb called as Sanjeevani from Himalayas to save fatally injured Lakshmana. And after reaching Himalayas, Hanuman was confused and he could not trace the particular herb of Sanjeevani. He thought he should not return to Lanka without the herb. So he assumed the form of a giant using his Kamarupa powers. Then he ripped the mountain from the earth and took it into his hands. Then he flew back to battlefield carrying the mountain on his palm. After the purpose is served, Hanuman took back the mountain and placed it in Himalayas. This act of him shows that he was a disciplined person also. And it is interesting to note that Japanese also believe that Lord Hanuman brought them the mountain consisting of Sanjeevani herb from India to China and then from China to Japan. So Hanuman had lived up to his name of Anjani Putra by helping use of Sanjeevani herb to save the life of Lakshmana. And we all know that Hanuman played a prominent role in the story of Ramayana. That's why he is praised as Ramayana Mahamala Ratnam. That means a diamond in the garland of characters in the epic Ramayana. And Ramayana refers to Hanuman as a minister of Sugriva. And Hanuman, after meeting Lord Rama and Lakshmana, arranges a meeting between King Sugriva and Rama. Thus, he helps Sugriva to regain his kingdom from Vali. And Hanuman was a leader of Vanara warriors. And Hanuman kills so many Rakshasas in the battlefield. And he helped Rama regain Sita. People in India and abroad adore him and worship him mainly as Sankataharana or Sankatamochana, who has the capacity to eliminate demons and devils. But it should be noted that he is not offered any animal sacrifices by his devotees to pacify him, because Hanuman is a vegetarian. At present, we find full many a large statue erected across the country and also abroad. And look at this large statue of 99 feet high. This statue is located in a village called as Abbirajupalam near to river Godavari in West Godavari district of Andhra Pradesh. And this is a photo of a large statue of Hanuman erected in Bali of Indonesia. And this is a photo of Hanuman taken from mural painting in Bangkok. So that we have to understand that Lord Hanuman is famous not only in India but also across the world since ages. Lord Hanuman is praised as Sri Ramadut. That means he was an ambassador of Lord Rama. Earlier we have seen how Rama praises him for his cleverness, gentlemanship and diplomatic manners while conducting his duties as an ambassador. He arranged relation between Sugriva and Rama, and he went to Lanka and tried to placate Ravana for release of Sita, wife of Rama. And he was an ardent follower of Lord Rama. He considered Rama as his supreme lord. He flew across the water mass of Samudra and went to Lanka alone for the purpose of finding the place where Sita was held captive by Ravana. He presented a finger ring sent by Rama to Sita. Thus he instilled confidence in the minds of Sita Devi that Rama was going to come to rescue her from the clutches of Ravana. Thus he helped alleviate the woes of Sita Devi ultimately. Ullange Sindhoha Salilam Salilam Shokavahnim Janakatmajayaha. And in a Bengali version of Ramayana, Hanuman once saves Rama and Lakshmana from a demon called as Mahiravana. Mahiravana was the king of Patalalok. Patalalok means underworld. Actually, Ravana entrusted the job of eliminating Rama and Lakshmana to Mahiravana. Then Mahiravana dodges Rama and Lakshmana and abducts them. Vibhishana, brother of Ravana, reveals the secret plot of Ravana to Hanuman. He told Hanuman that Mahiravana was preparing to sacrifice the lives of Rama and Lakshmana to placate goddess Mahakali. Thereupon, Lord Hanuman takes up the responsibility of saving Rama and Lakshmana. He took the form of a bee invoking his Kamarupa powers and enters into the cave through a hole where Rama and Lakshmana were hidden. Then Hanuman spoke to the goddess Kali and convinces her and gets her consent to save Rama and Lakshmana. Then Hanuman tricks Mahiravana and ultimately succeeds to kill Mahiravana and save Rama and Lakshmana. And here was where Hanuman assumes the form of Panchamukha Anjaneya, invoking his powers of Kamarupa. Panchamukha means five-headed god. This Panchamukha form will have 4 heads added to his original head. These additional 4 heads are of Garuda, Narsimha, Varaha and Haigreva. Let us know that Garuda is the mount of Lord Vishnu. Narsimha and Varaha were the incarnations of again Vishnu, whereas Haigreva is the horse-headed god. This story indirectly tells us that Hanuman was blessed by all these ancient Hindu gods to take on the demon king of Patala. After the incident was over, goddess Kali blesses Hanuman to become Dwarpalaka of her temple. It is interesting to note that In general, statues of Lord Bhairava and Lord Hanuman adorn the temples of Kali as guardian deities at the entrance doorways even today. And in this context, it should be noted that Lord Vinayaka also was the guardian at the entrance of the abode of goddess Parvati initially. And it is interesting to note that this Dwarpalaka attribute to Lord Hanuman has its echo in Japan also. Hanuman serves as a guardian deity at the entrance of Hii Shrine in Japan. Till now, we have seen some of the references to Lord Hanuman in popular literature and Ramayana. Now, let us see how he is mentioned in Vedas and Manusmriti. We know that one of the epithets of Hanuman is Maruta. There are several suktas dedicated to Marutas in Vedas. Let us look at this hymn from Yajurveda. Indrasya Vrishno Varunasya Rajnya Adityanam Marutag Shardha Ugram Mahamanasam Bhuvanachyavanam Ghosho Devanam Jeta Mudasthat. Meaning, powerful Indra, Rajan Varuna, Adityas, fiery soldiers like Marutas, all in unison shall fight for victory of Devas and make enemies from uplands cry. Here in this sloka, Marutas are called as fiery soldiers. So we have to understand that Marutas were soldiers and fought against enemies of Devas. Let us see another sloka from Yajurveda. Asavya Sena Marutah Paresham Abhyaitina Ojasa Spardhamana Tajugohat Tamasa Pavratena Yathami Anyo Anyenne Janan. This sloka says that Marutas were soldiers of Indra. And now let us look at this hymn from Rigveda. Indra asam neta Brahaspati Dashina Yajna Purayetu Somaha Devasenanam Abhibhajatinam Jayantinam Maruto Entuagram. Meaning, Indra shall conduct Soma Yajna under the auspices of Brahaspati at the southern side of the city for the victory of soldiers of Devas, and Maruta shall lead the army. This sloka clearly establishes a fact that Marutas lead the army of Devas, and so Maruta Ganas should be understood as troops of Indra and not common monkeys as such. Let us look at another hymn from Rigveda. Imam Naro Marutaha Saschatan Divo Dasam Napitaram Sudasaha Avishtana Pajavanasya Ketam Dronasham Shatramajram Duvoyu. It is telling Imam Naro Marutaha, which means Marutas were Naras. Nara means human beings. So we have to understand that Marutas were not monkeys but human beings only. This is another hymn from Rigveda. Naki Sudaso Ratham Paryasa Nariramat Indro Yasyavita Yasya Maruto Gamatasa Gomati Vraja. Meaning, Sudasu riding on a chariot and Marutas following him to the grazing field along with their kine is not to the liking of Indra. This hymn says that Marutas were cattle rearing people, the Gopas. And now let us see what Manusmriti says about Marutas. Pravishya sarvabhutani yatha charati marutah tatha charaihi praveshtavyam ratametadhi marutam. Meaning, just like air entering into our bodies and spreading everywhere inside, a king should conduct inquiries and collect information about his people and of his enemies by making inroads into their reports with the help of spies. And the spy work should be done in a speedy manner. And professional name of this spy work itself is called as Marutam in this hymn. So Maruta should be understood as spies, that is detectives. From the foregoing discussions, we have learned from Vedas and other sources that Marutas were Naras, human beings, and they were also Gopas, cattle herders. And they were not only brave warriors but also involved in spy work. And most importantly, they were well versed in Vedic knowledge. Now, having learnt about attributes and characteristics of Hanuman, let us get into our point of investigation. Let us look at this picture of Hanuman visiting Sita Devi in Ashokavan once again. In this picture, we can witness how obediently Hanuman speaks to Sita Devi. Hanuman sits on the ground and Sita Devi sits on a pedestal or a pile. And we can observe that Hanuman is presenting Sita a finger ring of Rama as an evidence to indicate that Rama had sent him. Let us remember how capable he was to communicate with Mother Goddess Kali in the episode of Mahiravana. Here we can read through this picture that he was conveying a message to Sita Devi sent by Lord Rama. So we have to note that Hanuman was a good communicator with goddesses. And before meeting Sita, he conducted a survey of Lanka city and garden of Ashokavan as a spy. And he killed several demons in Lanka in this first visit itself as a brave warrior. So Hanuman has all qualities of Marutas as told in Vedas and other Shastras. Let it be. Our point of interest is different. We have to find Hanuman in ancient Indus Valley region. Let us observe how Hanuman sits here. He is sitting in front of Sita Devi in half kneeling position and he is seen folding his legs in a typical manner. Now let us see another picture. Here also Hanuman is sitting in similar fashion in front of Sri Rama, Sita Devi and Lakshmana. Observe how his legs are folded. The knee of his right leg is placed on ground and knee of the other leg is kept folded up. And fingers of the right leg are resting on the ground, whereas foot of the left leg is placed flat on the ground. We know that no other god in a Hindu pantheon sits like this. Even monkeys also do not sit like this anywhere. Only Hanuman sits like this. That too he sits like this only before either Rama or Sita or Rama and Sita, not elsewhere. So there must be a strong reason for this kind of sitting, but we will discuss this aspect in another video to avoid further expansion of the subject matter of this video program. Our main aim of this video is to establish presence of Hanuman in ancient Indus Valley region so as to enable us to establish the fact that civilization of ancient Indus Valley region and culture of Vedic society are one and the same. So let us get back to our point. In all these photos, we have seen that Hanuman possesses a tail, and in the epic Ramayana, he destroys Lanka city with his burning tail lit by demons. But we have noted that Vedas refer to Marutas as human beings only. But we know that Vanaras lived in forests. These men must be living in forests with a purpose. Let us see how Lankini, the guardian of Lanka, addresses Hanuman. Kastvam kenacha karyena iha praptava vanalaya hathaya sveha yattvatvam yavat prana dharantite. Lankini addresses Hanuman as Vanalaya in this hymn. Vanalaya means forest dweller. She asks Hanuman what business he had there in Lanka, he being a forest dweller, and she warns him to go back otherwise face consequences. If Vanara was a forest-dwelling tribal man, he would have feared warnings of Lankini and moved away. But Hanuman did not budge. Ostensibly, he made his way into the city of Lanka after crushing Lankini. Earlier, we have noted that Vedas call Marutas as Naras, and Lankini called here Hanuman as Vanalaya. So, word Vanara must have evolved from the combination of two words Vanalaya and Nara. So, we have to understand that calling Vanaras as monkeys is not proper. And we have to get to the point that Hanuman and Vanaras were living in forests just like rishis or sages living in forests with a purpose. Earlier we have noted that a statue of Hanuman guards the entrance gate of goddess Kali. In Ramayana, Hanuman helps Rama to get Sita Devi released from the clutches of demon king Ravana. And Devi Sita grants special blessings to Hanuman by presenting him a garland of pearls at the time of coronation of Lord Rama as a gesture of gratitude towards Hanuman. So there must be a divine link between Lord Hanuman and female goddesses. Look at this picture. This picture is drawn from the photo of a clay tablet found at Harappan site. Now let us see what our Nara was doing in ancient Indus Valley region. In this picture, a man is seen sitting on the branch of a tree. But if we closely observe, we can find that he is sitting there on the branch of a tree, just like how Hanuman sat before Sita Devi. Observe how he folded his legs. His knee of one leg is placed down and another knee is folded up. We can also see a lion standing near to him but standing on the ground, and an idol of a female deity is seen standing beside him, erected on the tree branch. And this man's head and that of the lion also are turned towards the goddess. So we have to think that this man or Nara is speaking to the goddess while the lion is looking on. And there must be a special relation between lion and Nara also. And let us look at another picture. This picture is also a pencil sketch of a drawing from a small tablet found at an Harappan site. This picture is very famous among the archaeologists. In this picture, a goddess is standing in the middle of a papal tree, and a man sitting on ground is offering something placed beside him to the goddess, and that man appears to be speaking to the goddess. Archaeologists interpret it as a scene depicting a human sacrifice, and according to them, the sacrifice was being watched by Saptamatrikas, the Puranic eternal mothers. But our area of interest is different from what archaeologists think of the scene in the picture. Now let us see if we can find Martha in this picture. We can see him in the midst of the picture wearing a horn headgear and sitting on the ground in front of a female deity. Observe how he is sitting, how his legs are folded. Just like in the previous picture, he has also folded his legs typically and in similar fashion. One of his knees is touching the ground and the other knee is folded up. This style of sitting is same as that of Hanuman sitting before Sita in Ashokavan and also Hanuman sitting in front of Rama, Sita and Lakshmana. And let us remember that in the episode of Mairavana, Hanuman speaks to Mahakali and convinces her to leave Rama and Lakshmana. So his devotional relationship to the goddesses must be eternal. Here in this picture also, he is speaking something to the goddess standing in the midst of the tree. Now look at the picture of the man once again. Observe that sitting posture of this person is same as that of Hanuman's sitting style in front of Lord Rama and Sita. So this man must be a Maruta of Harappan civilization and a progeny of Hanuman. So we can understand that this cult of Marutas of Vedic Hindu religion has its origins in ancient Indus Valley region. And I have told you that in my previous video I have proved that Brahmadev, the primordial Hindu god, lived there in ancient Indus Valley region. Now we have established a fact that Hanuman's ancestors, the Marutas, lived in the forests of ancient Indus Valley region. So we can say that we have successfully finished our job. However, let us conclude our investigations by looking at another observation regarding Lord Sri Lakshmi Narasimha Swami in the Indus Valley region. Let us get back to our first picture. Look at the lion standing below the tree. The lion is looking at Vanara sitting on the branch of a tree. And an idol of a female deity is standing beside our Maruta. And let us remember that Hanuman is alluded to be son of Kesari. Kesari means a lion. In Hanuman's childhood, he plays with sun also. And in astrology, the fifth house of the zodiac is ruled by sun god. And it is represented by lion symbol. And Hindu god Sri Lakshmi Narasimha Swami is one of the incarnations of Lord Vishnu. And Narasimha represents half lion and half man. We know that Nara means a man and Simha means a lion. Here in this picture, Simha the lion looks towards Nara, the Maruta sitting on the branch of a tree. So there must be an eternal link between these Vanaras and lions. We will see this aspect in another video. Based on the foregoing investigations, we can conclude that progeny of Lord Hanuman, the Marutas, lived in ancient Indus Valley region. And we found traces of another important god of Hindu religion, Sri Lakshmi Narasimha Swami, in ancient Indus Valley region. In my earlier videos also I have proved that Brahma, the primordial Hindu god, lived in ancient Indus Valley region. So we can say that we have successfully found several evidences of Vedic Hindu religion in Indus Valley region. So there is a clear-cut continuum of Indian Hindu culture from the days of Harappan civilization to the present. And we already know that the ancient Indus Valley civilization or Harappan civilization ran between 7500 BCE and 1300 BCE. Hence we can assertively claim that Vedas were written by ancient Indus people and age of our Hindu culture and religion is 9500 years old and not 3500 years old. Jai Sri Ram, Jai Bajrangabali, Sri Rama, Sri Hanumate Namaha. Namaskar once again. I hope you will appreciate my research and the conclusions made by me in this video. If so, please like the video and subscribe to my video channel and press the bell button so as to enable me to send you information of release of further videos. And let me tell you that my children, namely my eldest daughter Sthitaprajnasri and her husband Santosh, my son Krishna, and my youngest daughter Vijay Susruta, contributed their technical might in making this video. May God bless them. I hope you would subscribe to my channel and like the video and also share the videos with your friends and relatives. Please notice end elements appearing as boxes on the screen. They are links to my other videos. Please click on the box of your interest and view another video. Sri Rama Sri Hanumate Namaha. Jai Hind.